Hi, I'm Matt from PCGamesN and welcome to our Shadow of the Tomb Raider review. I spent several days exploring the Peruvian jungle with Lara Croft and have a few thoughts to share with you about her new adventure. There's a lot I really like about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Of all the games in the reboot trilogy, it's the most mechanically satisfying. The climbing is fantastic, the combat wonderfully designed, and the tombs are exciting to raid. But this game has been made by Eidos Montreal instead of Crystal Dynamics, the studio that made the previous two games. And while this new developer brings some exciting ideas to Tomb Raider, it brings a few missteps too. Shadow of the Tomb Raider shows us a more aggressive, reckless version of gaming's most iconic archaeologist. After discovering that the shadowy Trinity Corporation was responsible for her father's apparent suicide in the final moments of Rise of the Tomb Raider, Lara Croft is doing everything she can to stay 2 steps ahead of them, even if that means being careless. Her desperation to outpace and eliminate Trinity leads her to accidentally summoning the Mine Apocalypse. With a series of catastrophic natural disasters in motion, it's down to Lara to fix her own mess and save both the world and herself. The game's opening promises a fascinating angle, a psychological evaluation of Lara and the toll that becoming the Tomb Raider has taken on her. But Eidos Montreal fails to deliver on this, quickly pivoting back to a far more mellow Lara. While the very title of the game suggests that the story will examine both the light and the dark of Lara's character, neither side is painted in bold enough colours to make a strong statement. By the end of the story, it's difficult to ascertain what Lara has learnt, both about the world and herself, which in turn means that you learn little about her. She feels no stronger nor more confident than her portrayal in Rise of the Tomb Raider, which brings into question this story's position as the final part of her origin story. So if the story isn't about Lara herself, what is it about? Well, it focuses on the legendary lost Incan city of Paititi. Its native community is struggling with the cult of Kukulkan, a sect that's trying to seize control of the city from its rightful ruler. The cult also happens to be seeking the same Mayan artifacts as Lara, which is where these stories begin to overlap. Lara's fight against the cult leads her down the path of becoming Paititi's saviour, with much of the town looking towards their new outsider for aid. Lara dons the traditional dress of the Paititi culture and rallies against the cult. But as this happens, it's hard to avoid the feeling that this kind of story is one from a less enlightened age, one where rich British people are the solution to a primitive people's problems. It also feels a disservice to a modern Lara. She's far more interesting than this kind of story. But while I think the story is a missed opportunity, there's plenty to love about Shadow of the Tomb Raider in its mechanics. Lara genuinely feels like a deadly predator as she prowls among the Peruvian jungle. Eidos Montreal has brought over some of the neat ideas from their work on the Deus Ex series, making stealth a much more viable and exciting option. You see, in the previous games, combat scenarios began in stealth, but making too much noise instantly turned the encounter into an inescapable bloodbath. Shadow of the Tomb Raider lets you break away from enemy sightlines and return into hiding. Lara now has a proper arsenal of stealth options. She can coat herself in mud to reduce the chance of being spotted, hide in vines and undergrowth for ambushes, and she can even hang enemies from tall trees with ropes. Dead bodies can be booby-trapped and poison clouds deployed via specially crafted arrows. This makes each encounter feel like a puzzle to solve, and that's a far cry from the tireless chorus of AK-47 rattles that the first game supported. In fact, combat is cut back in favour of exploration across the whole game, which is fortunate as Shadow of the Tomb Raider boasts the series' tightest traversal systems to date. Many areas demand that you chain together Lara's movement skills in quick succession, use the climbing axis to scale a wall, descend from that anchor point using the new rappel line, swing across the ravine and then grapple hook for the final leap. While this is the case, Lara's refined climbing abilities are held back from being first class by the restrictive level design. The game introduces climbing crampons that allow Lara to scale the underside of horizontal ledges for some upside down antics worthy of Mission Impossible. But their inclusion makes it increasingly obvious that, while Lara has so many movement options, the linear paths available to her mean you're unable to make any interesting choices with them. It would have been great to have a myriad of routes to take that each utilise different aspects of that climbing kit. Excellent combat and climbing is complemented by the game's tombs. These form the game's most memorable moments, with a hidden Spanish galleon being a personal highlight, but there's also fun to be had with spinning death machines and light reflection puzzles. Unfortunately, none of the tombs are particularly fiendish, with some of them straight up using ideas as old as the Tomb Raider series itself, while the more advanced challenges are beaten with simple logical timing tricks. Like the game itself, the tombs are within touching distance of being great, but don't quite reach those heights. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is an impressive game in the moment, but it's easy to imagine how much more of a success it could be if its story and mechanics fit together better. Eidos Montreal has smartly used its signature approach to interlocking gameplay systems, which I do prefer over Crystal Dynamics' focus on rollercoaster set pieces, but it hasn't been bold enough to provide a more intelligent plot that properly explores Lara's psyche. This was supposed to be Lara's finest hour after all, the final chapter in her evolution into the Tomb Raider. But in reality, it looks like Crystal Dynamics had already reached that point back in 2015. Hopefully though, that has given you a good idea as to what Shadow of the Tomb Raider is like, and if you want to play it. If you found this review helpful, please do give it a like, and why not subscribe to PCGamesN for more videos like this. If you're already a fan of ours, please remember to click the bell button to be notified of everything we do. But until next time, good luck, have fun, and try not to cause the Mayan apocalypse anytime soon.